and bring out the tan.
There you go. Right. How are you gonna describe that?
Not me.
I can see
Oh.
it. Dark too.
Yeah.
You haven't seen a one page on this for quite some time.
Hello, Jane.
Oh,
Hi, Warren. Hi, James. Were you on a beach this weekend? Was it very warm?
Just like today. Where was it at? We went to the Anaheim for the weekend. Newport Beach. I think it was very nice. Must be.
Those slides.
Yeah,
I sure.
so that's gonna be. Yeah.
What you mean, take all the siding off?
Yeah. Sometimes benefits are right there.
Right. Be less. They charge extra to put in those closed cells.
Hey, Jim.
Then you can do huge cost savings.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Here.
That's not
Yeah.
bad at all. Going in there with that.
Not ours, not. You agree?
Yes, that's what they.
You want Gene to look at it?
Did.
Probably Larry.
Larry?
And then burn.
So we're gonna have
Well, I sure do. And I
Larry.
We'll
Take a look
File
at
it
it.
for the school.
Get a conditional report on that, see what it's like, so.
I just have concerns
He just-
walking down the sidewalk.
I have concerns.
I mean, because those brick chips, I had those cleaned off when we did the last.
I like that.
It was better.
I'm way more concerned about the wall.
Yep.
Gravity.
Yes, oh, it is.
So, we need to share.
They need a motion from the council to have that happen for us or not.
For what?
For, to have Larry look at it.
And then when he gets back to us, what happens? Like, we
They'll
shut.
just get back to you with a report of what needs to happen.
Probably be guys just on this. I mean, we're not charging for it.
Is that a one?
Okay.
I'm good.
Call this meeting order, Stuart City Council, tentative agenda, Monday, April 10th, 2023, 6:30 p.m. Council chambers. Call to order. Patrick.
here.
Dolan. Can we call him or? Okay.
He's in the middle of a golf meet, I don't know.
Morgan. Here. Kaba.
Here.
Renzo.
Here,
Agenda approval, consent agenda approval of minutes of 3/13/2023, and special meetings of 3/27/2023, approval of financial statements as of 3/31/2023, approval of bills as presented, approval of liquor license Stuart Scoop.
so moved.
Moved by Renzo,
I'll second it.
second by Patrick, how do you vote for Patrick?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Kaba?
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes, Dave Dolly just said the phone is not working.
Okay. Do you have this number?
Seven one two 348.
This phone loves me. 712-348.
0950. So it went straight to voicemail.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
you end the meeting now.
Before I go to the floor, I want to put a statement here. The utility board and Stuart City Council had meetings. During the utility meeting, the chairperson said he wasn't taking any questions or comments from the audience. This is within his right of his position as chairperson to make this decision, just as the mayor can decide whether or not to take comments or questions from the audience during council meetings. If someone in the audience raises his or her hand, the council member or city administrator should advise the mayor. At this time, the mayor will decide whether to recognize this person or continue the meeting without addressing the audience member. Okay, now for resolution number 2307C, setting the date for a public hearing, which would be May 8th. Motion.
I'll move that.
Moved by Cobal, second by Morgan. How do you vote? Patrick?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Renslow?
Yes.
Okay.
Dolly?
Dolly, oh yeah, I forgot he's here now. Dolly?
Yes.
Sorry about that, Dave. Okay, 5, Humboldt Phase 3 housing. A, demolition of structures, council approval. Forrest?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So as part of the project, we're going to be demolishing the house, but the property owner and the tenant have requested that the barn remain. So we will end up with an outbuilding without a residential building. So in order to allow that, we need council approval to allow a building without a house attached to it.
I think just only under this circumstance, so we don't open up a can of worms somewhere else.
I agree, only because this wasn't something that they, like, we are annexing
Right.
into them, so, I mean, I completely agree, only because of the circumstances. So I'll make that motion.
Moved by
I'll
Renslow,
second it.
second by Kirkpatrick. How do you vote? Kirkpatrick?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Renslow?
Yes,
Okay, B, proposal to use house training purposes, fire department.
Fire chief said he's okay with it, as long as the city paying for the asbestos and all that stuff.
Asbestos.
And we have been doing that, so,
So need a motion.
yes.
Moved by Cobal, second by Morgan. Oh, yep, Jim.
Just keep in mind, anytime there's asbestos testing done, then if there is asbestos to be removed, that is normally on the property owner. And it can get very expensive to have asbestos remediated.
wouldn't you have to do the same thing if you were demolishing it?
Yes,
So, I mean, we're gonna be stuck with it either way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forest was $4,500. South Summit was $44.63.
it all goes by how many samples they take and
Mhm.
what they find.
The past ones we've done.
That's an old house.
So what do you recommend?
I recommend the city, we not really run this through the contractor doing this work. The contractor's not set up for asbestos testing and removal and that kind of thing. So I recommend that you pretty much handle this like you have with other houses where you hire somebody to do the testing. If there is some asbestos, then a lot of times the companies that do the testing also do the removal or can give a recommendation. And then we'll let the contractor know that the asbestos will be checked and removed by others, and the house will be burned by the city, and that the contractor will be responsible for the clearing and final demolition of what's left.
And you want the owner of the house to pay for it? Is that what?
Well, it's the city paying
That's
for
what I
it.
said.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, okay.
Just, yeah,
We'll handle it the normal way we.
just so you're clear, it's not the fire department paying for the removal.
No.
Right.
Or the testing.
Correct.
No, we never really like that.
So I'll make the motion to go ahead and have the city pay for the asbestos testing and
We
Any
made a
removal
motion,
necessary.
moved by Calvo, second by Morgan, to approve the issue, and we'll add to that the city will pay the cost.
So we don't need another motion. then?
No.
Yes.
Okay. C,
oh,
Oh, we gotta
We gotta
vote.
oh,
We need to vote on that.
oh, okay, okay. Motion, just vote.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
just
just
vote. Okay, how do you vote? Kirkpatrick?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Renslow?
yes,
Now, C, fencing.
So for the fencing, last August, the council passed an ordinance not allowing barbed wire within city limits. So this property is now in city limits, and the Wambold addition that we're looking at has been in the city limits for a few years. And we're going to be abutting some property owners that have cattle in the pasture. So they would like to have some field fence put up. And what we've kind of come to an agreement on, or what the property owners would like to have is, so they'd like to have a panel of woven wire. So that's the woven wire, you see it with the squares kind of thing. So it'd be fence fabric, and then there'd be one strand of barbed wire at the top and one at the bottom. And by ordinance, that's allowed if it's approved by the council. So this would be around the perimeter, north and east, and around the whole thing for the subdivision.
That would be the backyards, correct?
Would be the backyards, yes.
So with that being said, the city installs it. Do we go back to the old gentleman way of maintenance? Meet in the middle, to the right?
Guess didn't get that far, but good question.
Because we'll have to look down the road, if cattle's leaning on it, pushing through. I mean, I have cows too. I know exactly what goes on with cattle. So the maintenance part of it, we'll have to cross that bridge when it comes, I guess. But we need to think about that.
We definitely do.
We don't want that. I mean, I'm not trying to knock the farmers, but if they come to us and say, you guys put it up, you maintain it.
Yeah, it's because we're putting it up for their benefit,
Right.
not for the homeowners. Well,
Kind of
keep
sort
the
of.
cows out of
Sort of.
the yards, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's something for us to think about too, when, in the future for maintenance purposes.
Need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second Kirkpatrick, second by Cobal. How do you vote? Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Morgan, Dolly,
Yes.
Cobal,
Yes.
Renzo.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Forrest.
Thank you.
Shell, Jim, we're gonna do it.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. First thing I would like to talk about is the increase in wages to my staff at the Aquatic Center. I reached out at the beginning of March and asked my staff who was going to be returning next year. And of the 16 lifeguards that I had 4 that said yes, that they would be returning.
Is one of those your son?
Yes. Their biggest complaint was the wages that they've had the last few years. So I reached out to Jim, and he had me do a wage analysis to the surrounding communities. I reached out to Winterset, Adel, Guthrie Center, Greenfield, and Earlham. Earlham was, for your first year lifeguards, was the lowest at $9 an hour. And Winterset was the highest at $12.50 for first year lifeguards. We had a discussion, and I would like to set the first year lifeguards at $10.50 with the second, third, and fourth at an increase of 25 cents. Next year, we would go back to the cost of living raise for everyone. First year concessions, I would like to start out at 8 and do the same thing with them at 25 cents for each year that they've been an employee of the city pool. If you see in your packets where we started out our concessions at $7.25, and our first year lifeguards, they start at $8 an hour.
What page is that on?
It is
This one that looks like this. Second from
fourth
bottom.
one.
And so the 725, the Anna and Beth.
Yes, those would be the pool house / concession workers.
And that was their wage in
That was-
2021.
Okay, I see how.
2021, and
Just trying to
then,
figure out how you had it laid out, so.
yeah, this was from the city, or the city puts this together.
So is that why you're not having a return? Is because of the wages?
Yes,
That's
They
what
can,
told you.
a lot of what I got back from them was they can go out to McDonald's, they can start out at $13 an hour out there. Casey's starts them out at $12.50. I had some that work at Hy-Vee and they're making 15.
So if we increase some wages here, would that draw them back?
Yes.
Good, and they're already trained.
I do have, after talking to my staff, and hopefully getting the increase in wages here, I do have a majority of them now coming back.
Were they comfortable with what you have proposed? Or,
Yes, ish.
okay, I was just kind of seeing where we're at.
I went on the lower end. I can go through the towns. We are more comparable to Adel and Guthrie and Winterset, with them having aquatic centers versus Greenfield and Earlham just having the standard pool. Guthrie first year was $11.75. Earlham first year $9. Greenfield was $10. Winterset $12.50, and Adel is at $10.
So yeah, we're kind of right in that range with everybody, but.
I've talked to a lot of high school kids, kind of the ones that have been in and out of my house, and they've discussed working up there, but like she said, the wages just are not comparable, you know, when you can go sweat a little bit and go elsewhere and make a few more bucks.
Ash, where we
Yes,
said,
I looked at all these things and I put it to her, but I told her we need to get the council to see the change that will be. Yeah,
Sure.
everything's considered and it's ready to go with your approval as a council.
but if, I'm just wondering, you know, if she says,
Just go to even 11.
that's where I was going at with it, should we, is it possible to start them off at 11 for the first year? Just bump everybody at 50 cents?
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, would that put a little more icing on the cake? Or
Plus
what
I
do you,
see where she had it set and then she can evaluate it after that to see what the impact is. But I think
I've
she
gotten just a few. I've kind of, since I sub out of the high school, I kind of have my feelers with all of them, and I kind of got after them a little bit to see if I could get some applications turned in. I've gotten a few trickled in, but I don't see new lifeguards coming in, and I'm gonna end up losing several of these ones that will work this summer, but I'm not gonna have any follow-on
If they're
lifeguards.
older.
so
And I really need, I can do it with a staff of 10 to 12, but we're gonna be working, and that's with me lifeguarding and two of my assistant managers have their lifeguard certifications too. So we would have to step up and
sure,
be lifeguards as well. Need to see new kids come up as well.
So-
Can we bump it 50 cents? I think that's a great idea. I don't wanna just wait and see if kids will.
And one thing, you know, this is not a career job either, you know, we don't wanna make it, I mean, we'll never be able to compete with even McDonald's or anything like that, because we really don't run a positive end result with this anyway. You know, if we went crazy and tried to bump it up, you know, we're just getting farther into the red, you know.
But I also think that I mean, if you look at the last page, and I think you're gonna get to this, I think with the new stuff that she has going and the new passes, I think you're gonna see a bigger increase and more people coming.
I hope so.
I haven't gotten, I have some new ideas. I haven't gotten to
Yeah,
that part
so
of
I
my
think-
agenda. I do
Yeah, but I
have
think
some
with the
money
bump-
generators.
The bump in the
Like,
wages
that I
is gonna help to get more people out there, so we're gonna, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to go up
By
50 cents.
Yeah, I mean,
you okay with that, Ash? I mean, would it work?
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Let me see it, what happens.
If I bump my lifeguards and my concession people, I can't have my managers
No,
be
I
so
think
close?
everybody needs a 50 cent. I think all of them need 50 cents up.
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion, but
Got a motion?
yeah, sure.
Moved by Renzo, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Kirkpatrick, how you vote? Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Morgan?
Yeah.
Kaba,
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes.
Okay, so you own 50 cent on what they making now?
No,
I think I talked
50
about it.
cent each line, is that right?
50 cents on top of what her recommendation was.
So it's okay.
For everyone, lifeguards, just so that I can set this.
No,
Yeah,
my
you
my
need to go
motion
through
was
everybody.
50
Across the
cents
board.
on each of these,
Okay,
Above her recommendation.
above her recommendation, yes.
okay.
And that's including the assistant manager and
So the assistant manager number one, it's Matt Smith. He's just gonna be a fill-in, when we absolutely need somebody. Becca and I go on family vacation together, and he's willing to step up and be there with Penny the week that we are gone in July. And, so when I reached out, beginning of March, Penny didn't know if she even wanted to do it at all this summer. So Becca and I were gonna take it on, and then she decided that if Becca would help with being an assistant manager, Penny was willing to, very limited, you know. So what we have figured out is, so I'm gonna work 2 days, and one of them is gonna work 2 days, and then I'll work 2 days, and then the other one's gonna work 2 days. We're just gonna flip flop back and forth like that. And then Penny has stuff throughout the summer that we're gonna fill in for her. We're making it work. We already had our schedule, and
Yeah.
it's
Sounds like
all,
you got it figured out.
that master schedule's all figured out.
I just given to him who's available.
Yeah. So Matt is 1250, well, 13 now. Penny was the assistant manager number 2, and Becca is assistant manager number 3. The reason why Becca is more is she's lifeguard certified, and she is also helping me with swim lessons, water aerobics, all that sort of stuff. Whereas Penny's not lifeguard certified, obviously, and can't be there to do that sort of stuff. So, going on to number 2, with school being 2 days now, I believe they get out on Friday. We will have our new lifeguard training class the weekend of Memorial Weekend again on
Fingers crossed.
what?
Fingers
Crossed that we get the pool up and going. But right now I have it scheduled, and Simeon is going to come down from Jefferson again and put on the class for us. That is going to be May 28th and 29th, so it's Sunday, Monday of Memorial Weekend, with all staff training day May 30th and opening day being May 31st. Fingers crossed. Last year, we had, I believe, May 31st as the opening day as well, but our boys made it to state soccer, so I don't know how our season's going to be, and we have several staff members that are also soccer players, so that's kind of my tentative opening day. I would like to see a change in hours, Monday through Friday. I looked at other pools around. Winterset does it, Adele does it. Their hours are like 12:30 to 5, closed an hour, and then 6 to 8. I would like to keep our 11 to 5, closed for an hour, and then open back up and be open a little bit later from 6 to 8. I plan on doing one of my life swim lesson classes between that 5 and 6 p.m. break, and then again after closing at 8 o'clock. Last year we did 7 and 8 for our nighttime classes, so we're not really going any later than we did in the past. So, and then Saturday and Sunday keeping it like we have 1 to 6. All right, if you go to the last page, I believe, we increased our memberships across the board. I did the punch cards last year, starting out, and I did have a few of them sell. And then I actually forgot about them this year when I first put this together, and had somebody reach out to me and ask if we were going to do punch cards again. So yes, we're going to do punch cards. 20 punches, that's $65. I am increasing the daily rate from 4 to 5. Makes it so much easier on us. Last year we were on the weekends running out of change and everything. It was a disaster. So I think if we raise it to an even $5 across the board, and then our senior citizen will increase $1 to the $4 rate. That saves them $35, I believe is what it makes out to. Senior citizen, I had them at $45 last year, and I bumped them up $10. Individuals got bumped. No, sorry, senior citizen and individuals got bumped $5 a piece, from $55 and $75 respectively. The family passes went from $150 to $170 with a Stuart address. And then outside of Stuart, we're doing a family pass of $190. New this year, I also would like to add, we had a lot of people asking about like nannies and babysitters and whatnot. So I'm going to add them they have to be put on the individual's membership prior to the pool starting or opening. And that is going to be an increase of $50 to the family memberships. And then I kept the swim lessons the same amount as we did last year, only because we follow Red Cross swim lesson protocols, but we are not technically certified because one of us has to take a class, which Beck and I are willing to do, to be able to actually teach Red Cross swim lessons and then be actually certified Red Cross swim lessons. But we follow the same curriculum, if you will, for that. And then my new summer activities I would like to try out. I've had a lot of people ask about like adult swim times where it's 18 and older, no kids, and we're going to do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 to 8:30 in the morning, and see how it goes for those time frames. I may open up like maybe one night a week or whatnot and do a night swim for them if I have people asking for like a later time, or if I don't have anything going on from that 5 to 6 o'clock time frame, we can do an open swim for adults. And then also I want to try something new. I'm calling it Twilight Tuesdays. I want to do a 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. swim under the lights type of deal activity. That is not included in the membership, so I was going to charge $3 if they wanted to come and do that. I have every other week starting June 6th. So we'll do 2 in June, 2 in July, and 1 in August. With that being said, my water aerobics, they're going to have to go Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. And then on those Tuesday nights, we're going to do 5 p.m. water aerobics so that I have the open time slot for my Twilight Tuesdays. And with that, any questions?
I do have one. So when you open up at nights from 6 to 8, are you still going to charge $5 for 2 hours?
No. I didn't think about that, but no, I would not charge.
Okay, because I was just going by what you said on your Twilights for doing $3 for 2 hours, so I didn't know if for the 2 hours if you charge $5.
No, I would not charge the full $5.
No, everything else looks good. You've done a good job.
Pool was amazing last year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If the council increase with admission, all the stuff, we need a motion. Motion
For,
To approve all.
to approve her presentation for the new.
Oh,
all the price
Oh, okay.
increases and all that.
okay.
I'll make the motion.
moved by Rose, second by Caldwell. How do you vote? Patrick?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Winslow?
Yes.
Second.
And
Thank you,
I just
Cheryl.
wanna say, I instructed Jim to keep track of him and Corey's labor. We lost $22,000 last year. But that isn't including their labor. You gotta do painting, you got heaters coming in.
That's.
I say we need a true figure on what it actually costs to run this pool.
When we met, the cost of that sort of, not labor, but the maintenance, the heaters and all that sort of stuff wasn't going to be
No.
the true picture
No,
of
no,
what
not
the
really.
loss was.
No,
It's just the operation.
Maintenance, yeah.
Operation.
Just on that same line, just so that you're aware, pool needs to be painted this year. I've got the square footage, got the paint price, it's about $2,000 a coat. That's Shell and I painting it. Also, we've got 2 heaters ordered to replace the 2 that were out last year. That's right at $12,000. We've got about $4,000 in repacking the filters, because we had to take them down. We did that ourselves. Saved about $6,000 in media prices for the sand and the rock. The grates in the bottom of the pool are out of date. I've got a contractor right now where they're stainless, if we can recertify them versus replacing them. I don't know what the price is gonna be on those.
You have any good news for us?
No, the swimming pool for me normally isn't good news, sorry. It's just the way it is.
It's a thorn in his side.
But just a heads up, it's a lot of maintenance.
But we haven't done any maintenance in the last couple years, like to this degree either.
Is
Thank you.
it, question on that, is it something that we can do like one heater this year, one heater next year?
We've actually got them both ordered.
Oh, you got
Nash,
both? Oh,
Nash told me to go ahead with them,
Yes, yes.
We only ran on 2 heaters last year,
and it was a struggle.
yeah.
Okay, perfect, you guys got it, good work.
okay, 7, economic director, Matt.
Okay. All right. First thing here is the tax increment finance application process. Have any of you reviewed that?
Seems like a lot of paperwork.
It's only 5 pages. Come on.
Is it?
We just put it for you, council member, Mike asked for it to kind of, include this, so we got it for you, so you see the process, feel good with it, we just move on and continue. That's what Matt used to visit, and that's what we try to.
I'd just like to ask, maybe you could do this, because I think you got a seed meeting coming up, next week?
Yeah.
20th. If maybe run this by them, we can all make the decision, that's fine. But see if they got maybe a recommendation that maybe we wouldn't think of, what they think might be in there. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, just to kind of cover, because, it looks good, but just see what they say, because you got people that's been in business and I've not owned a business, and just maybe see what their ideas, if they have any.
On that note, I remember when we went through the application process for your position, and Seed had a whole different type of view and type of questions than what we did, which was kind of eye-opening. So, I think that's a great idea for them to look at it, because they may see something that we don't see, or that you may not see. The more eyes on it, the better, and the more input, the better.
It's just a different viewpoint is all,
That's a good idea, so consultancy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Okay, D, upcoming TIF projects.
Okay, well, I can give an update on those. Okay, when I initially came to the city council, I did receive some applications, but they didn't have all of the information with them. Since then, Dustin Capps has pulled his TIF application because he wants to try to utilize some grants. So that'll probably be coming up later on this year. The Stones had a TIF application for the bonding by the First National Bank building. They weren't able to get me the construction estimates and stuff like that.
What's gonna happen with this new engineering structure stuff that's gonna be happening with their building?
I have not intermingled anything, I haven't gotten involved with that, but,
I mean, that's on them to, I mean, I think Forrest said you guys were gonna,
mhm.
We're gonna have one of our I'm having one of our structural engineers review it, but not charging for it. It's
Right.
not a detailed analysis, just is this gonna fall down or not?
what happens, so I guess just, this may be off topic, but what happens if their engineer says this building is not sound? Does somebody go out and put barricades up? I mean, what happens?
Well, there's two sides to this. You're talking about the bowling club?
Yeah,
Well, what Matt is trying to do here, because we're gonna amend the urban renewal plan, we're trying to include as many as we can without any commitment.
I
Because
see, yeah,
amending
yeah.
the urban renewal plan is not gonna, doesn't mean you committed to. So that's the side of what we're trying to do now, just get as many project that was given
So kind
to
of like
us.
when we had the White Pole Road put in there, but we didn't move on anything.
Yeah.
So.
I get that part of it, I'm talking about now.
But the second part that I'm getting to, if we get that done, you know, to including the amendment of the urban renewal, we're not committed. We just get it there, so we don't have to redo the amendment again, it costs us a lot of money. The second part is, and Jason explained that in a very good email to me, is this can be a municipal infraction, you know, so, and it can be dealt with as a municipal infraction, sorry, as a code violation of the stuff. And Jason is willing to take that over.
I'm confused, I wasn't talking about the stucco on the building, I'm talking about the actual structure.
Right.
That's not a code enforcement thing, is that?
Well,
That
if I,
seems a
if
little
I
more
may,
serious.
based on what we talked about tonight and what I've seen out there, if there is a structural issue, basically, we're gonna take a look at it. It's either gonna be fine, no problem. If there is an issue, then it would be investigated further to see if that issue can be resolved through construction and remediate that back to a minimum standard to fix it. Or, the worst case scenario, condemnation and removal.
Yeah, that's my understanding too,
Yeah.
it's completely separate from what Matt is trying to
Right.
do.
So liability wise, do we around, I mean, is it gonna fall on, we have a Bonnie and Clyde, we've got Scoop the Loop coming up, is this building gonna fall on people?
Forrest, do you have any idea?
I don't know.
No, I mean, I know you don't know, and,
So
but,
if you've ever dealt with anything like this in the past, what have cities done? Have they barricaded that off so people can't get close? I mean, I think at a minimum, couldn't a city do that anyway if they say, hey, you know, we see this, it's an imminent
Yeah, you could barricade the
threat,
sidewalk.
and then just, we close the sidewalk in front of it. So I
just
think,
to- as a safety purpose,
Right, I think we can do
until this gentleman completes his, is
I
that
don't
something
think
we
there's
can,
anything
is that?
wrong.
Yeah, Jason is here, yeah, we will ask Jason to move what's the subject.
I mean,
I agree.
I'm
We
just,
can do
I'm
that.
scared that this thing is gonna.
Sure.
hurt
Okay,
someone.
Jason, good thing Jason's here, he's gonna take from there, because that's where he's good.
Matt, that was a little off topic.
Okay, so now we go
Anyways.
back to Matt, his proposal here.
That goes.
What he's trying to do is, this is all the applications that he has and all the stuff. And good thing Mike still has a good memory with me is, we just get that stuff in as much as we can, just in case we pass that amendment of the urban renewal next month or the month after, and then we'll come back and say, oh, we forgot this or that.
Right,
So we're gonna do it again.
So we're gonna add all three in for now, doesn't mean we have to do anything,
No.
but we can add them.
Yeah.
is that kind of where you're going, Matt?
But that was one part of it, yes, because that would go into the part with the potential June 2023 plan amendment purposes that Chip had sent along
Yeah.
as well.
Yes.
So
So
Yes.
this is really where we at with this saying is we can't just add it to the amendment of the open renewal. If it have it, if it doesn't, it doesn't, no commitment from the council on anything.
I tried to get them to give me all the information and get it in time to present to you now and get it on this current amendment, which, you know, we may still be able to, but we don't want to get into a situation where we're continually putting the cart before the horse. So I'm still trying to keep it structured and organized, but we've just had to throttle back on them a little bit.
But we
So
can still
I'm not
put them in
saying
there,
to-
right?
Yeah, let's not
I
completely
think
throw
we
them
don't
out.
have to do anything.
Okay.
Okay,
So you're looking at those three things, or the,
yes, and then you've got also the item that Chip had sent out as well.
So
Right,
this is
I
part of
got
the
that.
amendment also, all of these things?
These potential June 2023 plan amendment purposes. So.
so you're,
These are just to make you aware, just to bring you, you're aware of the potential
Gotcha.
items, not asking for.
Where are we at on this, administrative marketing proposal?
He's including that.
I'm asking where we at, because I thought we asked for Nate to be here so that when we could,
Oh, that,
do you remember that from our special council meeting? I thought we asked for Nate to come so we could get this marketing thing settled.
I only have good memory of that, so.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't.
Okay,
We probably,
we still can ask him to come, you know.
He's getting bogged down with new things, that's why I
Yeah,
really
so-
like to,
well, now,
don't
okay,
wanna lose out.
so is there anything about his proposal or anything that you might have questions about?
I don't know.
No.
I didn't, no.
No, I mean, you
I
could,
wanted to go for it, that was my,
Yeah.
was my thing.
I believe you could, you know, you did mention in the last city council meeting you would like to have him present. To be honest, I forgot to, you know, bring it up and have it put on the agenda.
I'd like to entertain some numbers with him though, because he said he would work with us, but I don't know where he's at with the numbers.
So I'm,
Go with Matt, can you talk to him and have him put a contract type
He-
together?
he did, that was his proposal. That was at $1,200 a month.
$1,200 a month.
Wow.
And that was a really good price for marketing.
It was.
For,
I thought with,
I have been doing a little bit of fishing around to see what else is out there, and the others were like 3 times higher than that.
Yeah, and he's very good at what he does.
yeah, I'm not trying to kick him in the shins by no means, that's not what I'm saying, but I thought he said that was negotiable.
Okay, with it being negotiable though, it means cutting back what you're gonna get. Instead of doing 4 videos, you wanna cut it down to 3 or 2, and you wanna cut back the amount of time that he puts into it.
Okay.
It's not
Guess I
to
was
whittle him
misunderstood.
down
Okay.
more on what he's earning.
Is this something that we can decide? Can we make a motion to go ahead and finish it out tonight? Or do we have to wait until May?
If it's included in the,
It's included in here.
yeah, well, that's fine. If you're good with what you
I don't
see.
know, I'm asking, because I
As
don't
far
know.
as you're wanting to include all these,
I wanna make a decision on Nate Westry's.
oh, I say go, I mean, do it, I mean.
But that's what I'm asking, are we
Yeah, I
okay
feel
to
good.
make the motion to go ahead and enter into it, because it is in here?
So, I mean, he was a part of some prior city council agendas.
Because I thought we were gonna do that one night and here
I
we
thought so
had
too,
that.
so I'll make the motion.
To approve what you, this presentation,
Oh.
because that's get him to be included. Approve including this project in the urban renewal amendment plan.
So then that would,
Yeah, because that's
No,
all.
you're not committed to anything, but at least he knows with his, if you wanna make, I just don't wanna make a separate motion.
no, it's fine, I'm
We can
okay with
figure
these,
it out.
looking at these projects.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wanna make sure that we are good at working with him, so tomorrow he could start working. That's where I'm getting at.
I don't know if you could, if we just move this to put this into the urban renewal project, it'd have to be amended first, right? Before he can do anything.
Should we just put that on next month's agenda?
Yes.
Can you
Separate.
please
Let's
I'll
just
do
separate.
that, yeah.
put it as a line item so we
Yeah.
can make a decision, be done,
Yes.
please?
Yeah, we will do that, and then in the meantime, if you're okay with just this presentation, you're good. And then we'll proceed with the bond attorney on having all these.
Cause this is more on how we're gonna pay for him, not his service, like.
Right.
Yes,
So what you're saying, Ash, is all these projects in here would go into the urban renewal?
yes,
Okay, so I do have a real reservation about the bridge project.
okay,
I get it that at some point it'll probably be viable, but I just, and I know putting it in there doesn't obligate us, but boy, I don't know. What does anybody else think?
I think it's a great idea, and I think that if you put it, I mean, if you keep looking at putting it in, you're gonna get more people from the south, south of the interstate, you're gonna get that to connect more with the town. So I think it's something to look at. I mean, we don't have to do anything, and he's just working on getting numbers. So I don't think it's a bad idea.
I know I know having it in there doesn't commit us to anything.
Is there some negative perception about it already?
What's that?
Is there some negative perception of it, or?
Personally, everybody else has their own opinions, this is my opinion, I don't see a need for it. You got a small housing thing out there, I don't see anybody sending their kids to school, walking over that. You have 2 businesses over there, or 3, since Country Kitchen closed, we don't know if anything else is gonna go over there, I understand you can put it in there. I don't know.
Do you think that if it ends up going through and we can fund it in a reasonable manner at some point, the development that can happen out there?
It could, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
That's
get
my
it, I understand it, don't get me wrong.
I
It's
see
just-
both sides of it.
Yeah.
Your side and the other side, but it's all gonna come down to, can we really,
That's what
and that kinda be the big question.
so my thing is, if you put it in there, a council may be more inclined to say, we have to finance this, we have to find a way. to
And I
finance
see
it.
that especially with the possibility of the transition of the council, the transition of the people, tomorrow, stuff like that happen. So, but we always count on the people still gonna live. Can stick to the point of
Right.
what we're doing with the amendment is not really commitment. It's
Right,
just, we got it there, we're done with it, and then if we go heavy on the issue, we study it financially. If there's potential, at least you got it in the
Yeah.
amendment. If you can't, you can't.
yeah.
So I see
I'm
this
torn
one.
both ways, that's it, I'm torn
Right.
both ways.
No, I know
I'd like to
you're
have it
saying
in there just in case, but then again, it's like,
I think we made a very good point when we were looking at the grant situation, that we were looking at numbers, not, and that was it.
So,
I was just gonna add that the DOT is planning to redeck that bridge in 2027. So something, it'd be nice to have that in place, yeah. Unless Corey's got better information than I
You better
do.
be putting.
That's what the
one
DOT
thing out there.
told Matt and Forrest tonight.
so,
And I don't think putting it in the urban renewal plan commits you to it any more than we're committed to putting a gas
No, I know.
which I think is even more dubious unless we've got a customer out there. So I'd rather have it in there as an option. It gives Matt maybe some impetus to look at grant money, see if any of this infrastructure money or Inflation Reduction Act money would be available. Obviously, we're not gonna do it just for city funds. It's just
Right.
too expensive.
There's no way.
Now,
But
see, I'm kind of on the opposite side there. I see the gas line as being more of a driver of maybe getting people over there than a pedestrian bridge.
well,
That's just my view. That's, I'm not saying anybody's wrong or.
I was gung ho on the gas line too. I've kind of cooled off on that, but that's why I want that in there too. But I sure hate to see you take it out, especially the complete street stuff and
Sure.
And recreational trails, I think it fits in there nicely.
Thank you.
I would like to add that the Country Kitchen, which also closed on the 6th, they own the land, they are proceeding forward. But in their agreement, they agreed to put in a sidewalk eventually, not from day one, but it's already planned. They're gonna put a sidewalk that would link to a pedestrian bridge. Okay, so
Okay.
I also feel that, a pedestrian bridge could help with maybe some rejuvenating. We're gonna do have a Country Kitchen that is closed down. I do not know specifically what the future holds for that, but this could be a benefit for reviving that, however it may be.
Good, well, we now, if we're good with what you see in the presentation, we don't need motion or anything, and you will be seeing it in the format of that menu we're gonna use.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, 8, nuisance violations and code enforcement. I've got a fairly lengthy presentation here, bear with me. At this time, I'd like to address the council in regards to handling of code enforcement. Previous to 2009, there was limited code enforcement. From 2009 until November 10th, 2015, Chief Reha and I handled most of the residential code infractions with the help of Nadine, who sent out notices to homeowners. On November 10th, 2015, it was decided we needed a professional code enforcer, and the council hired Ed Leadham to start the code enforcement program. Ed worked with Chief Reha, contractor Marty Derry, and me during the next 5 years. Marty had been hired on June 15, 2016 to aid with demolition and disposal of unwanted materials. We made excellent progress in cleaning up residents at Shumas, Forest, and Coe's property, as well as numerous others. Eliminating the town cleanup we did, and we paid him $42,782. Part of that is asbestos removal between Forest property and Coe's and different ones. It's very extensive cleanup in this town, which we needed it. And while I was working with Ed, I did have a few people come up to my house, ring the doorbell, and complain about their citations that they got. But all 3 of them was justified, and we went ahead and cleaned them up. Or the person had junk in the yard, and they just went ahead and got a fence to put around it. When a major cleanup project was ready, I would approach the council with an estimated cost of the cleanup. Once the cost was approved, I would let Marty and the police know so they could proceed. Ed, Marty, Chief Reha, and I had a great working relationship. Unfortunately, this ended on November 12, 2020, when Ed resigned, stating there was too much council involvement. He stated we cannot have 5 bosses. The last cleanup that Marty helped with was January 14, 2020. We went from November 12, 2020 to October 12, 2021 with Chief Reha and me again doing code enforcement, with Nadine doing the clerical side of typing and sending out infractions. Max Ryan was hired on or about October 12, 2021 as our new residential code enforcer. Here's a list of only final notice infractions written since Max was hired, as far as I know. 712 North Main, final notice was given on unregistered, unlicensed truck and trailer filled with debris setting in the alley. I had to personally send a photograph of the truck trailer in the alley to the lawyer, as Max's picture only showed the front of the house. The lawyer said we couldn't do anything with more evidence. A property on North Division, final notice was given, and while Ed Leadham used to be involved with making sure the cleanup was completed after final notice, this does not happen with Max's company. There was no follow-up and ensure the actual cleanup is done. I was the one who instructed Jim and Corey to remove backyard debris, but no toys from a property on the North Division. North Sherman Street, final notice was given, but council decided there was sale pending to let new owner buy the property and meet city code. Here's a list of citations that was dismissed due to code enforcement. Corey Klein and Megan Pike were cited for toys in their yard, and the council had them come here and talk about that. No action was taken. North Main Street, nuisance violations due to sticks in the resident's yard after a wind event. That was dismissed. 724 North Harrison Street, code infraction for a trailer that turned out to be properly licensed. I checked that out myself. 612 North Harrison, flat tire on a trailer. Notice the yard of the address. In reality, the trailer was on the property behind the house and Western Street. The lady approached me during a seat meeting on this one. Many other people receiving citations did not understand what the written citation was actually, for no pictures were included to this resident for them to see what the citation refers to. I told Max on several occasions that a picture is worth 1,000 words and asked him to include pictures of the citations. On November 12, 2022, after a resident on 920 North Main Street made a presentation to the council about a nuisance violation, the council decided to require that photo along with the violations are sent to the homeowner so they know. A gentleman on March 27th after this came to my door with a crumpled up citation. I asked to see the citation and a photograph on the violation. He informed me that he did not have a photograph. This was right before our council meetings, so I went the next day to look at his yard. I saw nothing that would warrant a violation. On March 30th, a couple days later, a lady came to my house with a notice of violation, asked her where her pictures was. She said, there's no pictures here included. This was in the evening, so I told her I'd look the next day. When I went to look and found an antique bike and other antique yard decor along her fence, no violation should be given to this. In addition, she had emailed and called Max with no response. I heard that the emails possibly went to spam. I don't know for sure. I have left messages with Max before. I'd like to visit with him on site, and he'd say, well, I already left when I was in town. Because of numerous complaints and not followed requested protocol, I would like to recommend that we dismiss Max Ryan as our code enforcement officer. I would like to see code enforcement done internally with 3 city employees at no cost to the city. Asher and I have already discussed this, how this would work. It would be Nadine, Jim Henderson, and Matt. And they'd handle internally. We wouldn't have to work at an outside source. And I've got pictures here. I'll pass to the council. I took these myself. These are not on any of the code violations that we've received. When I took the pictures, I had my wife zoom in so you could see numerous pictures that we have are taken from the street. And there's debris in the backyard next to a side shed. You can't see any of that unless you zoom in on the pictures.
Max, you are,
I was gonna say, are you done?
Yeah,
Okay.
for now.
I guess I just want to open up and you can, is this the first time hearing all this?
Yeah, a lot of it, we don't do final notices, we only do first and second notices, and then we send it to the city attorney and they send the final notice.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
final notices.
And
that's
H,
fast.
did you ever receive any complaints from any citizens regarding any of this stuff? Did anybody come up here and formally turn in anything?
Yeah, Viola Jones did, but
Help me.
she addressed the council that one time.
how about she come up City Hall first?
And I know we had a couple people that talked about the toys. They didn't come up at the council's request, they came up at their own. I just want to clarify that. And we handled that, and I think we made it clear to you, no toys and stuff like that. So, okay, but really none of the other stuff, you've never been notified of some of the other stuff you said.
Well, some of the stuff, it's been topic, like we've talked about it, but we've had solutions, we resolved it, we moved on that sort of thing. But, yeah.
Mike, just to clarify too, when I wanted about the final notices, I called up to the lawyer office in Perry. I said, we're doing our final notice. Well, Mitch is no longer with us. I had to figure that out myself, so I got hold of Dwayne and said, where are we at on final notices?
That's not his fault.
No,
Of
but
course.
no, I mean,
So that's our attorney's fault on that. So if no notice went out because they failed, that's their problem.
So, a couple months ago, a few months ago, when Megan was up here, did we discuss the contracts that we entered in with UMass, that you were to discuss only with City Hall employees, right? That's in your contract. So, and I think a while ago, we also discussed that nobody was supposed to be calling up to the city attorney unless it was Ash. Because we were expending so much money on those things, correct?
Correct.
So if there's a final notice, does the office send that to the lawyers? Is that how the process goes, or do you send it to our
I sent
attorney?
it to Dewey,
Oh,
yeah,
you
but
sent it.
I wasn't aware that Dewey was, there was a change in staff at one
And you
point.
shouldn't be.
Yeah, I know we told us so.
That's not on
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
shoulders to do that. They should be professional to assign somebody else to handle those final notices and make sure it gets covered. That's strictly on our attorney's office.
So when Ed did them, did Ed send the final notice, or did Ed send it to, at the time, Beverly Wild to do
we
it?
never sent to a lawyer back then.
Okay,
They didn't go to the lawyers.
so are you opposed to sending the final notices?
Well,
Or is that something that's required that our attorney does?
so basically the way that most code enforcement happens, the first and second notices go out certified mail. The third and final notice needs to come out with legal jargon and speak through your city attorney, basically just laying it out for them.
So it sounds like a lot of
And that's
this
what the contract says.
or miscommunication.
Yeah.
And that's what your contract
Oh, yeah,
says in
yeah.
your contract?
Yep.
I looked at the Iowa League of Cities website, got a nuisance abatement thing on it, and it's very, very nice. I encourage everybody up here to take a look at it. And we need to work closely with our attorneys, whether it's you or a city employee doing that, to make sure that stuff's on there. And, I appreciate the work that Mayor Cook's done, on this, but for people to, and I know being a mayor, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get people coming up,
Just like we get people coming up
we get
to
people
us.
coming up here, and a lot of times it's like, this is what you need to do, this way we can keep a record of it, because if you don't have a record up here, I mean, we've had several people come up and talk, and I think we worked through that. But if there's other issues that's not on record, it gets, to me, you get really muddled on what you want to do on that. There needs to be clear expectations, but we also need to get away from, well, I'm just gonna go talk to this person and then we're gonna kick somebody out. That's, I personally don't like that. I think it should be handled in a way where you have documentation on that. I know we talked about having clear expectations. I don't think we've sat down, any of us, and done that. I would agree on some thing of stick. That's not a nuisance. It's in the code that if it's interest to health and whatever, I can't say it, I'm not got it in front of me, or if it destroys the ability to enjoy the property, And there's a provision in our code that says if you're unsure, you don't write it. You just don't do it, I don't think we should have our code enforcement being, let's see how many infractions we can give out. That's not what it's meant for. It's not just meant to, a tree, a limb fell in your yard, boom. It's not what it's meant for. It's really meant to keep the city looking good, abate those nuisances that, rats and vermin, other vermin and stuff like that, or, where there's disease and stuff. But I think we also need, I don't think we have anything in writing as to what we expect. I know there's codes, but I was reading here, some towns even go as far as to say, this is how, and I don't know if it's in there, this is how tall you know, before it comes to nuisance. I don't know if it's in our code.
I think it is.
Yes, we changed it.
Okay, I see, I don't, okay,
I think we looked at that last year,
well,
or maybe the time
We said
frame ago.
the height plus the amount of time you have.
Yes.
to mow it.
so, I mean, go ahead, I'm
No,
sorry.
sorry.
No, you're
Max, do you know how many final notices you sent to our lawyers that hasn't been, I know.
It's
you
all over
probably
the
don't.
place because it depends on if they respond to the first and second notice, and sometimes we can work it out with the homeowner, but sometimes, you know, it's really situational.
I didn't know if you sent like 10 of them up there, then you didn't realize that.
At the beginning, when I first heard that Dewey Dalen was the attorney, I
Yeah.
had resent all the ones from that last December, so I had sent probably roughly 20 of them, but something up to him, but.
But you don't know how many.
I don't know how many he sent out.
Didn't get done or
Yeah.
did get done,
Okay.
because that's not your,
Yeah, I don't.
once
We
you do
just
that.
have mass
Yeah.
confusion is what's
Yeah,
happening.
I sent him the photos and the 2 notices that I sent out, and then that's him.
I do like the points that the mayor brought up is pictures, pictures, pictures.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that before, that is something, that, I think that was a clear expectation by the council at one point, that pictures must be included.
Yeah.
I would say if there are any missing, and it's hard to say, you know, when you have somebody come up to me, you know, I could come up to you and say, hey, I don't have a picture, but I got it, I just didn't bring it with you, you know?
Are
I
you
got it.
allowed on the property?
No, I don't, no, we're not trespassing on people's property, we're doing it all from the street and the alleyways and stuff like
Cause
that.
I know, I mean, just for personal experience, my previous property, I know I got a infraction from Mr. Leadham, and he was on my property.
Mm.
Like, and I know I had heard of a lot of complaints being on people's property, and they didn't
I
like
think
that.
there's a
That's the issue,
special thing
honestly.
you have to get,
That's why
some
I'm
sort of
curious.
warrant,
Mm.
you have to get a warrant to
Yeah.
be able to go on the property, so, yeah, that's good, but you could go down the alley to
Yeah,
get
I can go down the
backside, stuff
alleyway,
like
stay
that,
on
'cause that's
public
public,
roadways,
so.
yeah.
Max, I got a question. If 20 notices went to our lawyer, why isn't the city notified on that? Here the other day, we dismissed the one at Ryan Morrison the other day because the property changed. Hardman's,
It's all on the Google Sheets,
huh?
it's all on the Google
But-
Sheets.
Nothing was sent to us.
That's.
I asked Dwayne just the other day, I said, where's the final notices? This is all I have. I said, nothing's getting done. Then, I don't know if between you and the lawyer, but I know that long as everyone went to Max's, file, or Mitch's file, it went to, and then Dwayne is supposed to take over. Is there something in the file that we're not getting?
What's the follow-up after the attorney is it?
I was just gonna say,
Well, we have shared Google Sheets and stuff like that, so when I send him the notice, I put it in there, and then he can go in there and send, if he actually sent the notice, and then mark it when he sent it, and then we can check up on that, but.
So
That's what
James has
comes
got
on.
his right here. Can you come over and show us these 20?
is this?
Final
Oh, well, this
notices?
is what he would, right here, or that's supposed to be his, but
Would it be
I would
fair
have to go through them and look at them.
that maybe we can
It's all jumbled up on here.
include a city employee
But-
on the final notice, so that way it goes to the attorney, so when you send an email, it goes, we can carbon copy somebody, I don't know who, but somebody in City Hall, so they know that it was sent to the attorney, and then we can follow up, making sure that the attorney's sending it.
We should be able to get the shared files, so everybody can see it.
Yeah, I
So
can have
Max will
everybody
see
is
it, the
not.
attorney.
Right, no,
and
that's what
us.
I'm
Yeah,
asking.
I got
Can we-
another question here.
Yeah.
Right there, 10/7,
10th
10th month, 7th day, is that,
No, that's
No.
October 7th. That's the date that it was like last check on.
is that first or second notice?
Um,
Is that first or second notice?
That would be, well, it depends because this is all jumbled up, but it would be entered right here is where it should be, but it looks like it might be scooched over somewhere.
Because if a 10th month, you're talking December, January, February, March, and we don't have a final notice on that?
Well, yeah, but that was before we didn't know, I didn't know that the attorneys had changed and stuff like that, so that would have been Beverly One, who that was set to. So that was all prior to the
So-
change.
So all we need to do is find a solution. moving
Yeah,
I
forward.
think so.
That, it was just confusion, there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, I think there's
So
been
I
a little
just,
bit of confusion the last couple of months.
Yeah,
So things
yeah,
kind of got jumbled
I
around in
think
the
we just need to
process.
find a solution and
Yeah.
moving forward, if, I'm sure the city can get the shared files, I mean, we shouldn't be up on.
You guys still got my pictures of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
here.
at it this way. So I can tell you for one, I don't want access to that. That's none of my business.
Yeah, so sometimes it becomes super confusing if a bunch of people have
Right,
access
right.
to it, so it's like, try and level it down to like, Sarah has access, Nadine has access, they can look at it whenever they want and edit it and stuff like
So
that.
you do have access to that right now?
Yeah, I can look at it.
Oh,
Okay,
perfect.
so there we go, and then maybe internally, and I don't know, because I don't know. I'm not a city employee, I don't know how you guys set up, is maybe there's a special folder that you create, final non-spread, I don't know. But I think internally, if you work with Action and develop that type of a procedure to be able to go in, you can go in and boom, this is where the final notice was sent, so you can type it up, here it is, it's done. Something like that. I'd encourage you guys to work that out, you know,
We
'cause
can, I think I have a solution if.
Can we also maybe just get a separate list of what, right now, what we have pending for a final, who needs final notices, or what we need copies of final notices, and just make that list of everybody that's final, and then make sure we can give that to the attorney and be like, okay, Dwayne, here's what Max has for final. Can we make sure we have these notices? Can we get copies? Let's get it moving. And then as far as cleanup goes, because I think Mayor Cook mentioned something about cleanup. Is there something saying we have Marty? Do you guys use
We
Marty?
use Jim and Corey now.
But-
yeah, it used to use Marty.
Okay, but doesn't Jim and Corey have a lot to do? I mean, there's only two of them.
Yeah, and
But we don't have hardly any cleanups right now, we're doing.
But that's what I'm saying, is if we get to that list where he's at, these are all the properties that are final, we're gonna have to have somebody start cleaning them up. So if we have 20 that he said he sent, that's 20 different properties that are gonna need cleaned
They
up.
all probably need to be rechecked on and
Yeah,
see
I
how
mean-
they're doing now.
And unfortunately, we'll probably redo that.
Yeah.
Right,
So it's probably
unfortunately for you.
For
So-
legal reasons,
Yeah.
it's safer to do that.
So what was you gonna say, Ash?
I
Sorry.
think we came to kind of mutual agreement of what Max needs to do and how the council looking at and all this stuff. I think if we just add to all these things, the mayor would like to be included in this. I understand we have our differences of who looks at all this stuff, but if we let the mayor, please, be involved with these things.
Can he work with Nadine?
I did.
Yes, and that's what I'm proposing, you know, kind of.
I'm sorry, I haven't gotten a list of complaints since our, like, 2 meetings ago, or like anything, I haven't gotten nothing, and I know you said you would provide me with a list, but I haven't gotten anything.
But that's okay, I think we just let them be, get involved in that whole process that we're doing. It will get most of his questions answered right on the spot, so we don't have to come here again.
But like a lot of them, I'm saying, the neighbor down me, tree limbs and stuff, I want you to look at these here. None of those are on your list right now, as far as I know. But I'm saying that some of the piddly, well, like the toys, you know, we said, you can't hit people on toys.
I'm sorry.
Well, the one with the holes is on the backside of, what is that? So there's Harrison, and then, do you know where Schwarzkopf, it's a block north
I
of
can give you
Schwarzkopf.
that,
Oh, okay.
where all the, one of them's division right up
But
there.
this
Like-
one's the one with the sticks, what was the
No,
question?
no,
I'm sorry.
no, what I'm saying, the person had sticks, I don't think Viola Jones, they basically come to council and dismiss that, but we got a guy that has a mattress,
Yep, and you sent
there,
us for that one.
and this one here is right up on Division. He's had a truck with a tire underneath holding up for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then those are clear garages are all
What
falling
would be
down.
the process of condemning that house? That house is so unhealthy and so disgusting, and we've had multiple.
That would fall underneath the building official to do the condemnation. Yeah, so if the
Who's our
city's
building
directing for
official?
that,
You?
I can do that, yeah.
Can you, because, I mean, the mayor has had plenty of, you know, in that house, time and time and time and time again. Do you know which house I'm talking about? on North Division right across the street. It'd be kind of by Sarah's house.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, completely unhealthy.
If it's deemed an unsafe structure, then we can do that.
But the lady that owns it said we need to inform her too, because maybe she could take more action, because they're buying it on at least from her.
Yeah, but that house, I don't.
So basically, Max, I would hate to be in your shoes. That's a tough job. I think, in my own opinion, I think the expectations out of you is unknown. We gotta be consistent with what we're doing. So I think maybe you have a meeting with Ash and the mayor, get your expectations, then you start. You know what I mean? Because it's such a huge gray area on what you're supposed to be doing. I just think that you guys probably haven't, I don't mind if the mayor's involved in that, but come in, have a meeting, get your expectations, please provide photos. I think we're good.
I think the main thing is on this spreadsheet sheet there, I mean, I think it's still kind of confusing how it is.
Thank you, because I was just talking to Corey and I asked him, I said, can
Do
you
you
understand that?
that?
Can
I
I,
have a lot of trouble following
I
that
can
format.
simplify it. I can make it simpler. I'm currently doing that with Right Fields. If you wanted a simpler version too, I can.
a
make it
simpler
simple.
version would be
Okay,
great.
yeah, I can totally do that. We
Yeah,
can simplify it.
Okay.
I just have one small thing. So to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I don't have a problem with the mayor being involved either. Like that was never the thing. I think the problem was the phone calls and the amount of time that Max was spending on the phone with the mayor. That was not now, I'm saying previous. That's why we were so clear cut on it needs to be Max and city employees. Because it seems like he was using a lot of his time on the phone instead of actually code enforcement. I think that's where some of the ruffle came from.
But I never communicated with Max on the phone. I have Jason,
Okay, I'm just saying previous, I think that was kind of back.
just as long as we're clear, because Max and Jason, myself, Matt, we all had a meeting, then I got condemned for taking money away, $100, Jason told me, for having this meeting, try to tweak the system. And I think we need to make sure if we have to, call the lawyer in with this meeting and say, where's these 20 final notices? Because I just called him the other day and only had 3.
Well, like Max was saying, he's
I don't
gonna
know
have to
where they're
probably redo it.
Yeah.
Right,
And
it's
we
been
will-
too long now.
See where they're at.
We will take care of that,
Yeah.
like Councilmember just mentioned.
Yeah.
We will meet, Mayor, myself, with you, who will set the expectation, who will set the next step. Hopefully, we don't have to come back again and visit that issue. Will you be okay with that?
Absolutely.
Can we have it in writing?
Matt?
That's exactly what
Can we have
I would,
expectations in writing?
I would definitely encourage you, Ash, to work with Mayor and get it written down. So if when Max decides to move on to bigger cities to do code enforcement, and we have to hire somebody else,
Yes.
we have it in writing and we can say, these are your expectations.
Or maybe just possibly show him what Ed was sending with his letter, just a format of, because I think the way Ed sent his letters was appropriate. It was a nice, here's your thing, and then there was the picture. Here's the problem, here's a picture.
Right.
So maybe just a format.
I will set a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
with
work
them.
yeah,
We'll look to see, we'll come back to the council, and shows you what the outcome of our meeting.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Mayor, Mr. Long.
Okay,
I would just like to add that maybe, the mayor and Max will communicate. At first, maybe there might be a couple hours of conversation, but once they
Yeah,
get a
I agree.
walk together, then I'm sure it'll probably be less. There might be a little bit of an investment at
Mhm.
first, okay? But I think maybe it might be best to give the mayor an opportunity to communicate with them, let them get together.
Yeah.
And that's what we're
Yeah.
gonna
And Max,
Perfect.
please, when you take these pictures, I took the pictures, but my wife zoomed clear in this morning, so I could see what, numerous pictures I see, says debris in the backyard, the guy that come up to me the other day, I looked for Nadine's picture, and then I went to the place, I couldn't see anything, but zoom in, at least that you can see different things in the yard. A picture from clear out in the street, you can't.
I just try and get the full property. That's why I do that, but I can zoom in.
But I don't know, I guess I talked to Ed, and he said he used to go on people's property, and he's perfectly legal. So I don't know.
Not saying.
No, don't do that.
We would put that stuff in the expectation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Alright,
Okay. Done with that one, now we got public forum, I've got a couple things.
I've just got one quick thing. Ash, can we set up quarterly joint meetings with the utility board? And just say every March, June, September, and December, at our council meetings, we start the meeting at 6 and have a joint meeting before our meeting. And just have it, 4 meetings, just set, no ifs, ands, or buts. We have those joint meetings, they're set, we don't have to worry about it. Are you?
We can't take action on it, right?
No, we can't, but I'm throwing it out
No, I
there
mean,
for conversation.
I don't see any conflict.
Somebody from the utility board approached me and asked, why aren't we having joint meetings? And I said, well, I don't know.
mean,
And I know
sure.
we've talked about it every January, we talk about it and then nothing gets done. So I don't, for thought, maybe throw that on the agenda for May, that we have 4 set meetings a year.
I'm good, I implement the policy, but I don't set the policy.
No, I know,
Yeah,
that's why
I said,
I'm,
Right,
that's
no,
why
yeah,
I'm
we
bringing
just
it
discussed,
up.
I don't see an issue with that myself.
So can we put it on the agenda so that way we can,
Absolutely.
council can make that decision and then
Yes.
we can implement.
So we're in public forum, did you say you had something?
I do too.
Yes.
Go ahead, and then I got everything.
I would like to bring it up as a discussion item. I would like to talk about maybe moving the city council meetings up time-wise to an earlier time of the day. I don't know your guys' feelings on that.
That's what I told Matt, you got input because you got how many people working Des Moines.
I mean, I can't do
What time
any
you
earlier than
thinking?
6.
What are you proposing?
So Christina's already announced 6 o'clock, and that's an improvement. Okay, 6 o'clock now, then, what about 2 meetings a month? Or if we know we're gonna have some heavy meetings, heavy agendas.
We discussed that before, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of.
And it got touchy, but the thing is that just because we've had one meeting in the past, just because it's the way it's always been done, maybe doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing. And I know as volunteers, which the 5 council people and the mayor are, we give up a lot of time to do this anyway. You guys, you are fortunate enough to get paid, to do this. We sit up here and volunteer our time to do this. So if you have 1 3-hour meeting, is that better than having 2 1.5-hour meetings or 2 1-hour meetings? Because I know Matt and I both have a fire that we would like to go to. So if a meeting runs 1 hour and then you have another meeting 2 weeks later and runs 1 hour.
And the cost to Mike,
Yeah.
was the cost a lot
For every
of money
meeting.
to have a meeting, And that's kind of, we talked about it in the past. And we would agree, if you go through the minutes for the last 29 years I'm here, the most we have is 2-3 hours meeting. And you look at the today, we only have this on the agenda, and that's our regular meeting. So if you have another meeting.
Well, you wouldn't need another one.
You don't.
So you wouldn't need another, so
I can see the timing change, that's good to move it out and move the stuff, but having another meeting, we don't have that amount of work or agenda items to fill 2 meetings.
I'll tell you, when I sit here for 3 hours, by the time you get to that last thing, I could almost not care. I just want to get out of here, and I don't want to do that. I don't think any council member wants to get to a point where they're so tired
Yeah.
that, I think we need to I don't know how much it costs. How much does it cost to have a meeting?
It can cost $1,000.
Could you do it?
Every time you have a
By
meeting,
month?
you publicize it in the paper.
Publish it.
All this.
And
Well, you know
council
what?
members
That's
gets
the cost of
paid,
doing business.
all these big meetings, they don't allow money.
Can you do it month by month basis? If you have an agenda that's gonna be 3 pages, maybe think about splitting it into 2 meetings, but
And if you
otherwise you have
If
1.
you land beyond 8 or 9, you can always move it to the next agenda, like you can have a priority of your agenda and say this will be discussed this month, next month we'll discuss the other.
I'd like to see, Matt, if you would reach out to communities that do have two meetings,
Mhm.
that are similarly situated
Okay,
as us and see how they do it. And that kind of information, that way we have a foundation, just like the pool lady did her cost estimate. I think that would help us kind of see as a council instead of just sitting here, you know, in the dark, so.
I would love to, yeah, I can do a little bit of research on that, let's boil this down then. How about just moving these, meetings up a half hour?
What would that do to the utilities though, if we have a joint meeting? In the utility board, they meet at 5:30.
Just leave it at 6, that's all then.
And then you just have the joint meeting and then,
Yeah, I think you said your joint meeting at 6 anyway.
yeah. I
So,
mean, I don't think that the joint meetings with the utilities are gonna last that long, but I think a 15-minute conversation with the utility board to keep things, you know, everybody.
We seem to be on a divergent course instead of together, and there's a lot of, you know, it's like,
Especially with the new housing development, we're gonna,
but you
big conversation.
could just leave those at 6, I don't see any issue there, but, you know.
I mean, the people in Des Moines, does that work for, like you, James?
Yeah.
Does it work for you, Joe?
Could you do 6?
My work schedule's at least done, I'm involved in a lot of things, but I can make 6 work.
I mean,
Corey?
And a different evening, I don't. Got emergency
I'd rather not,
management
I like
meeting.
it.
yeah, I think
Meeting night's
Mondays-
fine, Six.
Dave, Billy, you there?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Can you make 6 o'clock work?
I would, me personally, I prefer 6:30, but, I'm sure I can make it work to some degree.
Now, of course, we can't take action tonight, but yeah, it's good discussion, so.
Yeah, if you want it to be 6, we just take it there.
How about Forrest and Chip? They're at our meetings all the time, just out.
I'm fine with either one.
It's probably better for you guys, cause then you can get home quicker.
Half hour.
I'm okay either way.
Okay,
We can dress that on.
so, all right, so it's set, 6 o'clock?
No, we can't, we
You
can't.
can't.
It's
No,
not a,
No,
it's public forum, so.
we can't vote.
Nice try though.
Yeah.
But on the same note, you could ask that your agenda item be moved to the beginning of the agenda, like Jim does.
So, yeah, I know there's a little bit of a thing there though, because if Forrest and Chip have stuff to discuss, unless we're gonna move all of them up as well. But that's another issue. So let's just boil this down. Let's,
We can talk agenda
Go to
at a
6.
different time.
all right, thank you for me.
Thank you.
Can I bring up something real quick? And it's gonna be, because I just need to be refreshed on the UTV thing. Because I've seen UTVs on Division Street, and I thought they were only supposed to get across like the main roads as quick as possible and not drive on the main roads. Like if they were going across Wright Pole, they're gonna go they're not gonna drive on Division. And I could be wrong. But I
You're
asked one of
supposed
our
to stay
police
on the main
officers.
road, but
I think
if the
when,
gas station's up here, yeah, you got the back roads, but I myself, you gotta get out the gas station. I can take near the grocery store, but I still have to get on the main road to get to the gas station.
I think
You
when
go
this,
past the grocery store,
I think when the state came out, it kind of trumped some of ours.
Oh, that's, yeah, we don't have the ordinance, do we?
Right,
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
the same.
state has it now.
Because
and
we were
they
gonna
kind of-
implement a fee and then the
Yeah,
state
they
said,
said
wait,
it
wait,
was-
you
they
can
said you
do
couldn't
everything.
have a fee.
So I'd have to look it up with the state. That's fine. I mean, I was like, I didn't think they said they could drive on the main.
Yeah, at first, that's what we talked, yeah.
and it depends on what you use this.
Yeah.
Farmer can,
Sure.
he's entitled to go right down the highway.
But it's also like the trucks, like
Yeah.
Jim said today, there was a lot of truck traffic going down Southwest 7th. That's not a truck route, they're not supposed to be there. I mean, 2 days ago, I about hit a rear-ended a semi because he was parked right there on Southwest 7th,
They're getting bad.
in front of
Yeah,
the sign.
yeah.
And I called up dispatch and she had to have the DOT officer come out and wake him up.
Oh, you were sleeping.
He was sleeping.
Oh.
And he said, you said, there's no parking here. And he said, well, I didn't know that. And the DOT officer said, well, there's a sign right there next to you that says no parking.
Anybody, you have anything? Anybody? No? I got, the town cleanup is again May 5th and 6th. Anybody's welcome to volunteer. And then Jim has his signs going up tomorrow at the sports complex. Dogs have to be on a leash. We've got kids out there soccer, I witnessed in the wintertime, people just dump the dogs off and let them run. One guy in particular walks his dog, just lets it run. I said, I asked Dave Rio, I said, once the signs are up, we can start enforcing it.
And we had talked about signage for something, there was. No, I know that, but we were gonna write a ticket for something, but there wasn't any, you guys remember?
Southwest 8,
No, it was at,
girls?
it was at the sports complex, because we were like, well, we can tell them it's, I can't remember what it was.
Was it the closing? That
Right,
was the public
hours of
park?
operation.
Hours of operation and
Yeah.
things,
City
because,
good, that's,
do we got that? Okay,
city take.
okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't have half a memory, actually.
I'm here to help you.
We didn't say that.
Come on.
Else got anything? Nothing?
Are you there, Dave?